All right, today we are going to be predicting the playoffs for the 2023-2024 season. This video is a second part to a video up on Avillion Talks where we picked all the division winners, and here we're going to predict the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
So I guess first, let's each name off our conference, like how the conferences look, seeding wise. Do you want to go first?
I'll lead us off here. Sure.
Lead
You want
us
me to
off
do
with
both
the.
conferences?
Let's do NFC first. So you do the NFC and I'll do the NFC.
All right. Number 1, I've got San Francisco.
Okay.
Number 2, I got Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I got Detroit.
Okay.
Number 4, I've got Atlanta. Number 5, I got Dallas. You're my first wild card selection. All
Thank
right.
you.
If you didn't have a Philly in your team, you'd be my division winner. Or a Philly in your division, you'd be my division winner. Number 6 is Seattle, and number 7 is Chicago.
Okay, we got some differences here then for sure.
Well, this is an interesting conference for the opposite reason the AFC is interesting. But
yeah,
go ahead and give us your NFC.
The number one seed,
Yes, sir.
I have the Niners as well. My
I'm
two
glad we're in
seed,
agreement there.
my 2 seed is the Cowboys. So we
Yeah,
share the division.
Makes sense.
3, I have the Lions. 4, I have the Saints.
Yep.
First wild card, 5th seed, I have the Eagles.
Yep.
6th seed, I have the Giants.
Okay.
And then 7th seed, I have the Vikings.
Yeah.
So
I can't
it's just
necessarily
yeah.
disagree there with those. Like, I could see New York and Minnesota both making it back, but there's just usually some differences every year besides I don't know. They both made it last year. There's a lot of who was your 5 was everyone besides New Orleans in your picks made it last year. Tampa was
Lions.
They should have.
So that's 2 changes.
Yeah, never mind, because you didn't have Seattle in there. That's right.
So that's 2 changes, and then I've got the NFC East switching out their 1 and 2.
Yeah, which I think I would agree that Dallas is the third. I think Dallas is the third best team in the conference if they played in the NFC North or.
I think if every team's playing their best, which is always the question mark. I think if every team's playing their best, I think the Cowboys are the best actually.
Interesting.
If everyone's playing their best,
Cowboys
like what I've seen Dak Prescott do
else's.
when he's at his best, I'll take that team. But
that's fair.
That's always the big question mark.
That's fair. Well, yeah. Well, it's the big question mark is can you fire on all cylinders throughout the entirety of a postseason? Is always the.
Yeah. And for me, the biggest issue I've had of us in the postseason has been coaching, not even Dak. I think Dak played terrible in his last playoff game, but other than that, I don't think he's played terrible in any other playoff game.
Yeah, I think there's always been a narrative around Dak in the playoffs. I don't think has been quite fair because even a lot of those losses, he's played relatively well.
Yeah, I thought against the Rams when we lost, he played well. The Packers, I thought he played well. Seattle's the reason. He's the reason we won that game. But whatever. Anyways,
people love to hate the Cowboys. You know how it is.
Of course. And I'll start us off with the AFC. So, AFC, my 1 seed, Joey B.
You're not gonna bust the jersey back out?
Nah.
You don't have to. All right.
Nah.
I guess you made your point in the last video.
I got the Bengals at the 1 seed. This is part of my. I don't know how his health is gonna look, but this is part of my Burrow MVP propaganda. 2 seed, I have the Chiefs.
I get it.
Okay. 3 seed, I have the Bills.
Okay.
4th seed, I have the Jaguars. 5th seed, I got the Ravens. 6th seed, the Jets. And the 7th seed is the Chargers.
All right. There are probably 11 playoff caliber teams in this conference, and I had to pick 7. So, this one. I've got Kansas City, number 1. I wanted to do Buffalo, but at the end of the day, I can't in confidence say Buffalo is going to be better than Kansas City when Kansas City has routinely kicked the shit out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Or at the very least won the game on some kind of 13 seconds or whatever. I understand, but Kansas City, Buffalo, Tennessee is my 3rd seed. And ready for the blowback. I'll get on that one, but that's okay. No bias. No blue-colored glasses on that one.
3rd seed.
Pittsburgh is my 4. Only because the AFC North, they have to play each other twice. there's going to be a lot of splits in that
Mm-hmm.
division. So, besides Cleveland, everybody's gonna sweep Cleveland.
Yeah.
But
I wish that's what would happen, but
no,
probably
they're gonna
not.
go. They're gonna go like 2-4 though. Like they're not gonna have an even or even a positive record in the division. Cleveland's gonna be, I think, a 2-4 division for the division record. Um, my first wild card team. I've got Cincinnati. Or no, I had Baltimore, Cincinnati. Excuse me. Baltimore is my 5. I think I remember saying, because they're gonna have the same record, but Baltimore's got the tiebreaker. I
Okay.
don't know how it's gonna happen, but and then number 7, I've also got the Chargers. So we're in agreement on our 7 seed.
All right, Avillion, go ahead and give us your wild card predictions.
My wild card predictions over in the AFC. I've got the number 4 Pittsburgh Steelers versus the number 5 Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
I cannot, in good faith, pick against Joe Burrow
You better
in
not.
the playoffs. Cincinnati's going to win in the wild card. For my 3-6 game, I've got number 3 Tennessee against number 6 Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pick against Lamar Jackson, but you're asking me to pick against my Tennessee Titans.
So what did you do?
I don't want to. So I'm picking Tennessee to beat Baltimore.
Wow.
I think Baltimore is going to struggle to run the football on Tennessee because it's Tennessee. The run defense is awesome. And Titans versus everybody this year. Tennessee 17-0, Super Bowl champions. Throw it up on the rafters. So yeah, Tennessee beating Baltimore.
Okay.
And then I've got the number 2 Buffalo Bills versus the number 7 Chargers. Now I know I said if the Chargers don't win a playoff game this year, Brandon Staley should be fired. But if this game is like 38-35 and Buffalo hits a game-winning field goal as the clock expires, maybe you keep Brandon Staley. I don't know. I don't really care. But Buffalo wins this game.
Okay.
Yeah, Buffalo wins this game. And then for the NFC side of things, I've got the number 4 Atlanta Falcons versus the number 5 Dallas Cowboys. To me, this is the Dan Quinn Bowl.
Dan Quinn Bowl.
And I think the team that currently has Dan Quinn is going to come out on top. I think Dallas's defense, especially Michael Parsons, is going to be too much for Desmond Ridder early on. I think Dallas has the horses on offense to put up the points here. Atlanta's young. Atlanta's still learning. This is a big step for them to win the division, get to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make any noise. I think Dallas is too good of a team to lose this game. I think they take this one. I think Dallas goes on to the next round.
Correct. And
then I have the number 3 Detroit Lions versus the number 6 Seattle Seahawks. And this is a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think Detroit's secondary is going to be much better this year. And I think even with all the weapons that Seattle has at their disposal now, I think we're going to see good things from Detroit. I think that defense is going to take a huge step up. And, of course, offense, without question, the firepower is there. They're going to be awesome. Hopefully Jameson Williams is healthy and is playing good football at this point.
I would assume he is.
Season. Yeah, I hope so. I think he'll be all right. The issue is, though, he can't go to the team doctors and because he's suspended.
Weird.
So he can't talk to team doctors about his injury that he just sustained because he's even in the preseason because he's suspended.
Yeah.
Which it's weird that they let suspended players play in the preseason, but they can't talk to team doctors regarding their injuries.
That's fucked up.
That's fucking weird to begin with. Why can you do one thing related to team
Look,
activities?
you can go out there, present for us, let us market you.
You're allowed to play football,
but
if you get hurt in the process, you better go to the damn hospital. We ain't doing nothing for you here.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, stupid, ridiculous.
Okay,
ridiculous. But anywho, I've got the number 2 Philadelphia Eagles versus the number 7 Chicago Bears. And
bear down.
Similarly to what I said, yeah, of course. Similarly, though, to what I said about Atlanta, this is a good year for Chicago. Obviously, going from the worst record in the league to the playoffs, even if it's in the NFC, where being the 7th seed doesn't mean a damn thing because nobody ever wants it.
Correct.
Still a big step up for them.
That running game, that running quarterback battle would be electric.
Jalen Hurts. The game is going to be an hour and a half long. and it's going to be really fun. I thought at this point, speaking of running game, I think Roshan Johnson is going to be
I like
bell
I
cow at
like
this
to
point in
pick
the
him up.
season.
I like to pick him up late in fantasy drafts. Because
It's amazing that he's going that late because I mean he's already taking reps with the ones. Like you'd think he'd be getting. I don't know. I mean I think Khalil Herbert's gonna have a good year too. But
Yeah.
regardless, the
Her-
running game is gonna be great. They still have
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman. Even though Roshan Johnson's probably going to be doing his job,
Right.
especially by late in the season, we're not going to see a whole lot of Foreman because it's just kind of redundant with him and Roshan. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, big step up for Chicago. But ultimately, the Eagles. I mean, they're even as good as the running game's going to be. Like I said, the Eagles are like 8 deep at defensive line. Like I don't know, they
Yeah.
rotate guys, they keep them fresh. There's only so much you can do. I think Philadelphia takes this one.
Okay. So that's all your wild card games, right?
Those are my wild card
All
games.
right.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's hop back into the divisional round.
Ooh. All right. Well, it's the number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs versus the number 5 Cincinnati Bengals. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got the Cincinnati Bengals taking this one.
That's what I like to hear.
I got the Bengals
Burrowhead.
taking this one. Yes, sir. I got Burrow walking into Burrowhead and
Doing what he
flying
does.
home with a victory. I think it was a bad beat last year. It's tough. You win some, you lose some. But
right. 3-1 against Mahomes is not a bad record to have.
And that one loss came in Arrowhead, so on the road, not even at home.
Well,
it is what it is. Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he, regressed back to the mean this year. I think Cincinnati beats Kansas City again because that's what they do.
All right.
And last year doesn't change that. They still have 2 games on them. So, and then we've got Tennessee Buffalo, and I'm just gonna have to pick against Tennessee here because Ryan Tannehill's Ryan Tannehill at the end of the day. I think he's way better than people give him credit for, but he's in a conference full of super weapons at quarterback. So, anyways, Will Levis, though, next super weapon 2024. Book it. MVP. But that's next year. So, Buffalo takes this one. And then over in the NFC, we've got more divisional round games because that's how football works. So, the number 1 seeded San Francisco 49ers take on the number 5 seeded Dallas Cowboys. And history repeats itself when San Francisco wins this game. I'm sorry. But
Micah Parsons would have 5 sacks in that game because he would be pissed off.
They're just too good to pick again. They did not lose a single game after the Christian McCaffrey trade until the conference championship when they were playing Braden McClellan at quarterback.
They wish. Yeah, it looked like they would wish I was out there.
No, I mean, no Josh Johnson disrespect, but
didn't
with
even
all due
he get hurt
respect, when you're down to your 4th string quarterback? Did he? I don't know, but by the way, you're down to your.
Weren't there talks about McCaffrey having to come in and play QB? Because didn't Purdy go back out there while hurt?
Oh yeah, I think Josh Johnson did get hurt. I think they were talking about playing an emergency quarterback. Yeah, I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah. So
yeah, like I said, they were playing Braden McClellan at quarterback. You were the emergency quarterback for that game. So
fun. I had a good time.
I'm fairly confident in that McCaffrey stat, by the way. They may have lost one, but I'm pretty sure after they traded for McCaffrey, they didn't lose a single game. Because that's around the time Brock Purdy took over, and I know for sure he didn't lose a game. He went like 9-0.
Well, I think their first game was against the Chiefs, and they might have lost that one after.
I'm sorry. Since he started. He didn't
Yeah.
start that game because he didn't know the playbook yet. So since McCaffrey
He still went in there, and I think he got a touchdown, but he didn't start.
Yeah, he had I think a receiving touchdown in that game.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
But yeah,
maybe it was a rush touchdown. It was definitely like a goal.
All right, so you
touchdown of
have
some
the
sort.
Niners beating the
But
Cowboys.
The
Anyways,
Niners beat the
move on.
Cowboys, and hopefully Big Cock Brock is healthy. But then we've got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. And I don't want to pick against Detroit. I definitely don't want to pick in favor of Philly because I love Detroit. I love Dan Campbell.
Okay.
I love what Detroit's doing. But Philadelphia is just better.
All right.
And it's tragic. I don't like it. I really don't like picking Philadelphia. This won the same conference championship matchup from last year.
I was going to mention that, yeah. So let's go ahead and head over to the.
Sometimes it just happens.
Let's head and go over to
Sometimes
your
it just
AFC Conference Championship, where you have the Buffalo Bills at home versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I've seen this before, actually,
I've seen this before.
and it was not.
I've seen it.
It
In
wasn't
fact,
pretty.
I've seen it 1.5 times. Yeah, I don't. Stadium Schmadium. Since he walks in there, takes that bitch over like they did last year. It ain't even gonna be close.
Yeah,
No, it'll probably be much closer than it was last time, but I don't care since he's walking in there
we'll
and they're
see.
flying home with a dub once again.
And then
And
you
then on the
have
other side, history
this-
will not repeat itself here. San
Mm.
Francisco's gonna whoop that ass.
if they, I think
I've
they
got
would have
San
won
Francisco.
had they been healthy.
Had Brock Purdy not been hurt, they might have. You never know. But I think San Francisco's gonna bounce back. I think people are gonna forget real quick about the Trey Lance trade when Brock Purdy takes him to a Super Bowl in year 2. So I think people will. There's some revisionist history here, some recency bias. This is the worst trade ever made in the history of a draft day, or whatever. It's dumb.
It might have been.
I mean, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, hindsight is 2020. But was it bad process? Because I feel like you have to evaluate process and
If
results.
it's true that they
And it
traded
was
up
not
before deciding which
process.
quarterback, it might actually be bad process.
That is bad process.
If that's true, it is bad process.
That is bad process because if you're keeping with that much capital, you should know. But you're right because there was it was like John Lynch wanted Trey Lance, but Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Was the narrative. That
Which
we
is
heard
funny
all
because
throughout
if
the-
you look at it right now, it's like, well, I don't think it would have mattered either way. It wouldn't have worked.
even if you he maybe would have been marginally better, but you got to think about it. If they draft Mac Jones, do they draft Brock Purdy?
No, I would take Purdy
pretty
over
similar.
Jones.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is they're pretty similar molds of player,
Yeah.
though.
I guess.
Well, which maybe that would lead.
All
them to
right,
draft Brock
so
Purdy, but
your Super Bowl,
the Super
Cincinnati
Bowl
Bengals versus
versus
the San Francisco 49ers.
49ers.
Who do you have winning?
Are you ready?
I don't know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
San Francisco's got a lot going on
Mm-hmm.
this year.
They
They
definitely
got
do.
a lot to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder.
True.
They're pissed off,
Of course.
and it won't matter because Cincinnati's walking in there with a W.
That's yes,
Yes, sir.
100%.
Yes, sir. It's not going to be an easy one.
No,
It's going to be a close game.
it's not gonna be
I don't
easy.
think it's going to be a
but
super high scoring
at
affair.
some
It's going to be
point,
like
you gotta.
23-20 or like 27-24 or whatever. Nobody's going to score 30 in this game, I don't think, but it's going to be entertaining. It's
I
gonna
wouldn't be
fun.
surprised if there's a defensive score that does make it.
Maybe, yeah, between both. Lou Anarumo, who I have not mentioned at all in this
Mm.
session, is awesome at what he does. And if he were 20 years younger, he'd be the number 1 head coach candidate in the league. All right, go ahead, lay it on me, man.
Okay, so AFC side, my
AFC side.
2-7. Okay, hold on. What is going on
Mhm.
with my computer? All right, so my 2-7 for the AFC is Chiefs versus Chargers. I got the Chiefs
Okay.
winning.
Awesome.
And probably I think my guess is it's not too close. It's not necessarily a blowout, but it's not really competitive, and Brandon Staley gets fired.
Yeah.
Because even though it's like, oh, but it's the Chiefs, that's hard to beat. It's like, well, they're in the same division. You need a head
Yeah.
coach who can beat them, and he's not able to.
That's what sucks about having that kind of a team in your division is like you're basically handicapped every single year.
Yeah, you're going to be getting
Just
used
based
to
on
that with the
divisional
Jaguars.
alignment. It is what it. All right.
All right, the three,
All right.
the
Pretend that
3-6,
you didn't say that.
the 3-6. I have the Bills versus the Jets,
Mhm.
and
If
You
ever
know.
there was an upset to pick,
I think that maybe we start hearing a little bit more noise about Josh Allen in the playoffs as the Jets beat the Bills.
I think that narrative's a bit silly.
I
considering
wouldn't
Allen
agree with
is-
it, but it's like, okay, you lose to Burrow, you lose to Mahomes, and now you're losing to
Okay,
Aaron
well-
Rodgers in the playoffs. And I get
Well,
that those
if
are
we
top
look at-
quarterbacks.
Well,
but
okay, hang on. There was the 13 seconds, and then he also didn't get a chance in overtime. because
I
of-
agree. I think the conversation will be had. There will be a lot of noise in the offseason about it, but I won't agree with it. But
He had 10 touchdowns in 2 games. Like that's you can't do much better.
they had
than Allen did
they
in
had the
play-
perfect playoff game against the Patriots.
Yep. Now, granted, he wasn't great in the loss last year, but again, that's Lou Anarumo's
Okay.
defense. So
And
you can have bad
then
games,
and then I have the
whatever.
Jaguars versus the Ravens.
Mhm.
And it's Trevor Lawrence. I'm picking the Jaguars over the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll take it. That's fine.
So that's my wild card for the AFC. For the NFC, we have my 2-7 is Cowboys taking on the Vikings. If there was one team the Cowboys have owned, these previous seasons, it's been the Vikings. So they're going to do it again in the playoffs. I think they blow them out. And
They blow them out.
And
Interesting.
there's been 2 cornerbacks that we've seen do a good job on Justin Jefferson. It's been Jair that one game, and last season it was also Trevon Diggs.
No, fair enough.
So we blow them out. And then the 3-6 is Lions versus Giants. I think this is a closer one, but I think
that'd be a very entertaining game.
But I think it comes down to, weirdly enough, I think I like Jared Goff more than I do Daniel Jones.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
And it's not, it's not like a tier difference, but
I think you can do more with Goff than you can do with Daniel Jones.
At least in the passing game.
In terms of plays he can successfully run.
Yeah. So I got the Lions winning there, and then the Saints versus the Eagles. The 4-5 matchup.
You didn't do it though, right?
I got the Eagles winning.
Okay, thank goodness.
So we go back to the AFC. We have the Bengals versus the Jets. I got the Bengals winning. They take the rest, and I've seen the Bengals defense shut down Mahomes as much as anyone can. I think they'll be able to do a good job against that Jets offense, especially with that O-line. Got the Bengals winning. And then
especially with that coaching staff that I talked about for 20 minutes in the last video.
And then the Jaguars versus the Chiefs. I really wanted to pick the Jaguars, but I went with the Chiefs. I think I think it could be a really good game. I think it's a fun game, but I think it's hard to pick against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So I went with Patrick Mahomes. I got the Chiefs winning. Fair enough. Back in the NFC, we have the Niners versus the Eagles. It's a rematch, but in the divisional round this time. And I also have the Niners beating the Eagles.
Waxing that ass, yes, sir.
Yeah, healthy Brock Purdy, I think they win. And then we have the Cowboys versus the Lions. I can already hear the conversation now about the Cowboys' cakewalk schedule to the conference championship game as they beat the Lions.
Oh, brother, yeah.
Predicting storylines as well.
Oh, yeah.
We're
predicting storylines,
Minnesota. They're like,
Detroit,
you beat Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff. They're like, okay, Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff, but they win and they go to the conference championship game, and we get a rematch in the AFC of Bengals Chiefs. This time in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. That place is rocking as the Bengals do what they do better than anyone else in the league, and that's beat the Chiefs. And they do it again, and they advance to the Super Bowl for the second time in the Burrow era. And then back on the NFC side, the conversation. They beat Goff. They beat Cousins. They beat Brock Purdy as the Cowboys advance to the Super Bowl.
Oh, brother!
I gotta do it. It's it. I can't. If there's a reasonable chance of it, as a fan, it's hard not to pick your team.
I agree. I can't hate that.
I know Cowboys fans get a lot of hate for doing that, but I'm like, every team. Every fan base has that.
Every fan does that when if your team is good enough to be in consideration, you're going to pick them. Like,
you have to be so bad to not have fans do that.
Yeah. Unless you're a Cardinals fan this year, you're picking your team to go to the playoffs, right? Like, even Bucks fans, they're gonna be like, "Oh, our division." They're like,
"Look at our division." Yeah, look at our division.
But Baker Mayfield might be decent. Like, he has Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin and Trey Palmer, like whatever. But yeah, unless you're like you said, it's hard to when you have a reasonable chance at winning a Super Bowl. You're gonna pick your team to win a Super Bowl. Like if I felt Tennessee could win one this year,
if you swapped out Ryan Tannehill with, let's just say Aaron Rodgers, not even Mahomes. If you swapped him out with Aaron Rodgers, what are you saying? DeAndre Hopkins?
Probably not. But if we had Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, or Josh Allen, yeah, I would say. Okay. I think Rodgers is just a step below those guys right now.
That's why I think he is too. That's why I picked below that tier. But
well, even Allen is arguably a step below Burrow and Mahomes for me.
Honestly, I agree.
Yeah, but if I get Burrow or Mahomes,
I think Allen is the top
I'd
of
all the way.
Of his tier, but he's still a tier below.
Yeah, he's the best tier 2 quarterback in the league, but he still has too many bad games for him to be tier 1.
Yeah, but Super Bowl, Bengals, Cowboys. This is the Braden Bowl because
this is the Braden Bowl.
Because I am a Cowboys fan, but got a lot of love in my heart for the Bengals.
If there was any team you could lose to in the Super Bowl,
It would be the
you'd want it
Bengals.
to be the Bengals.
It would be the
yeah,
Bengals.
because then Joe Burrow gets a ring.
And that's
You'd be
exactly
happy.
what I have happening. I have the Bengals winning versus the Cowboys in a bittersweet game for me. And
Yeah.
predicting storylines, people would be like, okay, so Dak brought him to the Super Bowl. He can do that. But look at who he beat to beat there. He beat Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Brock Purdy. Plays a good quarterback in Joe Burrow. He loses. He's not that
Yeah.
guy because I can
Dak's
hear the
not
hate
that
now.
guy. Start
He's gonna go to
Lance.
the Super Bowl.
Start Trey Lance.
He's
Put
gonna
Trey
go to the
Lance
Super
in
Bowl and
game.
still get hate.
Yeah.
But that is
Yeah,
what
he
we
can't-
have.
He can't win. He can't win as far as narratives go. It is what it is. All right. Well, we had the same Super Bowl winner.
We
funny
did.
enough. Even though, I didn't even pick them to win the division. We had the same Super Bowl winner this year.
Yeah, I mean yours is a better storyline of a wild card team rode the
I
entire
suppose.
time in the playoffs, winning the Super Bowl. Because the Cowboys only would be on the road against the Niners.
Yep.
So that is how these playoffs are going to go according to each of us. Please check out Avillion Talks. What are you going to be doing up on that channel over there?
Whatever the hell I want.
That's what I'm doing over here.
Gotta have some fun with it, man.
Amen. All right, so go ahead and give
So-
this video a like, subscribe to this channel, then head over to his, subscribe to his. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep gaming. I started that sign out as a joke, and now I just do it. I did it as a joke, and I was like, I didn't convey that was a joke, but now I just do it at the end of every video.
Hell yeah, man.